Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Diego Laredo. I'm the Public Relations and Media Manager. I'm still learning my new role for Farmer Veteran Coalition. Joining us today is Abby Earp. She's stepping into a new role as Director of Donor Relations, Stewardship, and Grants. And then we have Tanya Gier with who will be taking over the fellowship fund from Abby. I'll let her do a quick introduction. So Tanya, just say a few words, introducing yourself.
Okay, good afternoon. Again, my name is Tanya, and I am the program coordinator for the Fellowship Fund.
All right. And we also have Curtis and Mariah joining us from CFFM. They want to just say a quick hello and then we'll get started.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Mariah Beverly. I'm one of the economists at the Center for Farm Financial Management. You're going to be hearing from us later a little bit about AgPlan.
Yep, and good afternoon. You'll hear from us later, just as Mariah said. I'm Curtis Monken from the Center for Farm Financial Management.
All right, thank you for that. So real quick, just go over the webinar. So we'll talk about the fellowship fund first, and then we'll have CFFM take over for AgPlan. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat or Q&A. Abby will be in the background helping us answer those questions. Again, this is being recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later today. But yeah, go ahead and get started. Share the screen. All right. And then let's see. All right. And for those that have questions, please put them in the chat or Q&A. Don't raise the hands. It just makes it go flow easier. But yeah, we're going to get started. So, Tanya, take it
Okay,
away.
so okay. Again, good afternoon. I am Tanya. I'm sure many of you already know Miss Abby. She ran the program flawlessly for the last 3 years. She has been promoted, and we're really excited about that. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. Um, the 2026 Fellowship Fund actually kicked off on January the 5th this year, and it'll end on February 17th. So we take a look at our agenda. We're going to discuss a little history about the Fellowship Fund. We're going to talk about the Gear to Give, the requirements to apply, application process. We're going to look at an application, and we're going to discuss the scoring and maybe some frequently asked questions. Next slide. The Fellowship Fund was established in 2011. It is a small grant program that provides direct assistance to farmer veterans. The Fellowship Fund has awarded over $5 million in grants to nearly 1,300 farmer veterans. The awards are between $1,000 and $5,000 for the purchase of equipment and other related supplies. I need you to keep in mind that awardees will not directly receive the funds. Purchases are made to the selected vendor on behalf of the awardee, and the awardee does have 6 months to use their award. The Fellowship Fund supports for-profit agricultural businesses, so nonprofit entities are not eligible to apply. Next slide. I wanted to actually show this slide to show you some of our major supporters and donors. We do have Tractor Supply Company Foundation, Tractor Supply Company, Farm Credit Bureau, the Wounded Warrior Project, and Kubota. Next slide. So let's talk a little bit about the Gear to Give. So FCC has a partnership with Kubota Tractor Corporation Gear to Give program. It was established in 2025. It provides equipment and grants through the Fellowship Fund. It is not a separate application. The application is actually integrated into the Fellowship Fund application. So every year, Kubota awards 5 pieces of equipment through the Gear to Give program and has awarded a total of 51 pieces of equipment to our FDC members. Next slide. What are the requirements? Well, you must be a veteran or currently serving in any branch of the armed services, to include reservists and National Guard. You also must be a veteran verified member of FVC. And the reason why I stress that is because while processing some of the applications, I noticed quite a few applicants were veterans by uploading their DD 214, but they were not members of FBC. So take the time to, if you're not sure whether or not you are a member of FBC, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email and we'll verify that information for you. You're also going to need a redacted DD 214. You don't need your birthday. You don't need your social security number or your address. You can just black all of that out. I'm sorry, you can black all of it out. Page number 4 or service 2 with an honorable characterization. So the reason why I have 2 pages on there with my looking up, I see that depending on your branch of service will depend on what page you will use. So member 4 or service 2. Block 24 is always the same. It is your characterization. We're looking for honorable, but general characterization of service may be considered on a case-by-case basis. So that's something to keep in mind. Next slide. Okay, so if you are actively serving or National Guard or reservist, you will need a sample command letter, support letter. So Diego, if you go and select that link for me. Okay, so what I did was I put together a sample command letter. It is actually fillable. So if you can enlarge it for me. So it's fillable. You can give it to your command and they will just need to click and fill in the information, put it on their letterhead, sign it, and you guys can get it back to us and you get it back and get it uploaded. Okay, next slide. Okay, what else is required? An operational agricultural business. So I know people have questions when it comes to the term operational. So as long as your farm or ranch has incurred any expenses or received income from operation is considered a business. So the example that I like to use is, let's just say, for instance, you buy chicken wire to put around to make a fence. That's an expense that you've incurred. Buying a cow, buying chicken. So that makes you an operational agricultural business because you've incurred those expenses. A business plan. You will need to have full participation in the program with periodic progress reports. And what we mean by that, we like to have letters and photos. We like to make sure that we share that information with our donors to let them know, hey, this is what our veterans are accomplishing. Mentor farmer veterans. Make sure that you're active in the veteran community. Next slide. Okay, the application process. You will need to upload your redacted DD 214, upload a short essay, minimum 1 paragraph, maximum 1 page. The essay should focus on motivation, experiences that led you to launching an ag business, and your career ambitions in agriculture. You need to upload a business plan, minimum 5 pages, maximum 15 pages. The cover page is included as a page. Be prepared to answer emergency prepared questions. That is also in the application. It's just plans to protect, the people, livestock, and your assets in the event of a man-made or a natural disaster. The application can be saved and accessed. To do this, check the box next to save my progress and resume later. An email will be sent to you as confirmation. Next slide. So let's take a look at the application. So when we do look at the application, it looks like the application is really short. Once you start answering certain questions, you may be prompted to do a response. So it can take between 1 and 2 hours to complete this. So if you'll go ahead and select the hyperlink for me, Diego. Okay, so if you see up the top, it says save my progress and resume later. So again, that's what you need to press if you would like to save it later, and then you go back to resume once you get back in. It'll send you a confirmation email that it's been saved, and when you get ready to resume, you just hit the hyperlink to the right. As you can see, yes, so it goes over the fellowship fund, things that we've already spoken about. It talks about the eligibility requirements, which we've already spoken about. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. Okay. Okay, you can scroll down for me. All right. So the fellowship fund awardee expectations. So we've pretty much gone over that as well. Go ahead and hit the next page. So this is what you will fill out. First part is your demographic information. And then we go down and it it asks questions. So if you scroll back up to, let's just look at, for instance, do you have a felony? Let's select yes. So questions like that will prompt you for more responses, and everything is based off of how you answer. So it looks like a short application, but it again can take up to 3 hours, depending on how much information you want to provide. If you scroll way down, the Gear to Give application, that, like I said, was embedded in the application, is at the very bottom of the page. Next slide. Okay, so how is the application scored? So there are 8 categories. So it's going to be a total of 40 points. So the very first category is farm training and experience. So pretty much what this is, does the candidate have the training and experience necessary to succeed in this business? Um, Category 2, transferable skills. Does the candidate possess any skills that they have that may have transferred from their military or prior employment that will be valuable to the farming venture? Category 3, personal investment. Has the candidate already made a significant personal investment of time? So that can be anything from some type of education or training or purchasing the farm and things of that nature. So those are personal investments. Next slide. Strategic requests. Will the request equipment or materials strategically advance the candidate's business? So what that basically is saying is, would they have a significant impact when you, let's say you are an awardee and you wanted to purchase feed or something like that. You're purchasing feed, but you don't have any livestock or something like that. So it's the strategic request. You have to think about that and keep that in mind when you're filling out that portion of the application. Category 5 is vision goals for the future. Does the candidate articulate how they see the fellowship fund fitting into the long-term life goals? We don't expect you to have it all together or all figured out, but you should be able to build a case on how the participation in the fellowship fund will serve you in your farming career. Category 6, community involvement. Has the candidate demonstrated previous involvement with FBC? That can be anything from state chapters. We do have at this time 22 state chapters or states that have active chapters. We get newsletters that go out to each state, and the ones that do have chapters, reach out to the state chapters and see if you want to be a part of it or get more information. And veterans and farming communities, get out to these farmer markets and have them come and donate their time on your in your garden or on your farm or on your ranch. That's getting the farmer veterans involved, which you may find a veteran that, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I want to start, and let me try this. So, that is also part of your mentoring. Next slide. Unique impact. Does the candidate combine solid qualifications with a unique perspective? So we kind of want you to be creative and be very detailed. That's why with the business plan, we say it's going to be a minimum of 5 pages. We want you to think. We really want you to think about what you're doing and what you want to accomplish and how far you want to go. And category 8, again, the business plan. Does the candidate present a clear, realistic, and actionable business plan? And just to let you all know, each application is for about 2 reviewers, and the FVC staff does not score. We actually have a third party volunteers to help us with the scoring process. Next slide. So these are some of the frequently asked questions. Am I eligible to reply if I was previously awarded the Fellowship Fund Award? Yes, you can reapply if you received an award of $1,000 or less. Am I eligible to receive equipment through Gear to Give if I previously received the Fellowship Fund Award? All are welcome to apply for or to receive equipment through Kubota's Gear to Give program. Correct me if I'm wrong, Abby, that is correct? Oh,
I apologize. I've been answering questions.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. What part is it?
No, it's just the second question. I just want to make sure that I'm giving them the correct information through the Gear to Give. If you previously received the Fellowship Fund Award, you're eligible to do the Kubota Gear to Give program, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You will have to fill out the application. And when you get to the Gear to Give portion, that's when you select yes, then that you want to do the Gear to Give. Can I access the application after the submission? Now, the reason why I put this question in here is because I've gotten a couple of questions about that. So no, the application cannot directly be accessed, but if you shoot an email to our support team or the fellowship support email, or even give us a call, we can help you. We can, give us the file, we can upload the file for you, or we can copy and paste your responses if you need some correction. So again, you can't directly access it. And if I'm awarded, do I receive a check or cash? I put this on here again, just to reiterate, awardees will reach out to their preferred vendors for an invoice, and FEC will pay the vendor directly. So again, awardees will not receive the funds directly. So those are the most frequently asked questions, unless you could think of some other ones, Abby, or some of the questions that you're getting now.
I think we're good. I think I'm answering most of them. I'm getting there. If I haven't answered yet, I promise I'm about to.
Okay.
And then real quick, I'm sorry, Tanya. I saw a comment in the chat that I wanted to say something about real quick. And even if you don't have any farming experience, or you feel like you're not qualified for this program, give it a crack at applying anyway. It's great practice for making a business plan. For those that have never made a business plan before, we have people who review your application and they provide feedback to you. So even if you don't know what to put in your plan or something, we'll have, obviously, CFFM will go over more with their ag plan, but it's good practice just to get started. And if you feel like you might not have a strong application this year, you get the feedback, and then you have a stronger application for next year as well. So it's great practice as well, just to try to get you thinking about your farming business. But go on, Tanya.
No. So in terms of the application, we just want to make sure what we recommend is that you type all of your responses on a Word document or a notepad. And when you get ready to, you think you're about finished with your application and you want to submit, copy and paste that information onto the actual application. This so you won't lose anything. Even though you can go back and resume, you just don't want to make a mistake and delete something, So that is something good that you should practice. And just like Diego said, just because you don't have the farming experience, this is where you will get it. And this fellowship fund is actually a great program. I I heard about it when I began working here, so it's pretty good, and I feel that a lot of people have benefited from this fellowship fund, whether it's $1,000, $5,000, or give year to give. So everyone that is actually on this webinar, I hope to see your applications. Okay, and feel free to contact us should you have any questions. Miss Abby is still available, but you can definitely reach out to me or the support email or the 855 FBC farm. My phone number is also at the bottom. That's my direct contact number. And Latanya at farmvet.org. And no, it's not Latunia, it's Latanya. So that's why I put in the little parentheses, Tanya. So that's why I put that in there. I get called Latunia a lot, but
I did
that's
want to
all I have.
mention, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, really quick. So awardees are usually notified by email the first week of May. So as we get closer, we'll let you know exactly what day that will be, but it's typically the first week of May. That's all I had. I'm still answering questions, by the way, so don't give up on me.
All right. Thank you for that, Tanya. Thank you for the great presentation. I'm trying to think if I have any last words before we hand it over. Keep asking questions in the chat. Me and Abby are doing our best to answer them. You have a lot of questions, so we'll try and go through them as quickly as we can. But yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Tanya is available, as well as me and Abby and the rest of the FEC team. But we'll go ahead and hand it over to CFM to go over AgPlan.
Well, thank you, Diego, and we're happy to be involved again and be able to share a bit about AgPlan and help you get your business plan together so that you can submit that for your application. So I'm Curtis Monk, and I'm one of the economists here on the Center for Farm Financial Management team. Mariah is going to be leading us through the demo as we go through here, and I think, yep, there's our contact information. If you do have questions about it, you can also once you're in the AgPlan site, you'll find the center's contact information, and that's probably the easiest way to get an answer from us. We have a team of people here who can answer all of those questions. So let's go ahead and get into it because we do have a few short PowerPoint slides, but we really do want to get into the AgPlan demo so that we can show you how to use the site and then how you can put that, add that into your application. So what is a business plan? Well, just really, really simply, a business plan, if you haven't heard this before, if you have, it's always good to hear it again, but it's just a formal statement of your business's goals, the reasons why you believe that they're attainable, and what your plan is for reaching those goals. So we are looking then at the purpose. Well, really, what we're wanting you to do is demonstrate to other people, communicating your plan to other people, that you've taken the time to think through each of the different areas of your business plan. It does not have to be long as you go through this. I mean, as you've been putting into the chat, 15 pages, in some cases, you can get pretty windy. I mean, we both work for a university. We're used to having long things, but it doesn't have to be. I will assure you, I don't know who the reviewers are for the fellowship fund, but I will assure you that they do not want to read something that is 50 pages. So being short and succinct is a good thing. But really, it's demonstrating that you've taken the time to be able to think through all of the different pieces. As we go into the demo, you'll be looking at rules, regulations. Have you thought about all of those? But have you thought about the financial pieces? Have you thought about what the HR pieces are going to be? What the skills are that you're going to need for your business? And really, that's what a business plan is doing. It also helps you to effectively communicate your business. As you think about who is going to be reviewing your plan, and in this case, it's very easy to see who is you're going to be communicating your business plan to. You're going to be communicating it to the reviewers of the fellowship fund applications. But as you think beyond the Farmer Veteran Coalition and the Fellowship Fund, it's communicating your business externally to lenders, to investors, other partners that you might want to bring in. In some cases, if you are going to be selling your product to a CSA or a few CSAs or to some food hubs or things like that, you might actually have to have a business plan so that you can show them that you're serious about it, how you're going to do different things. Your food safety management plan, all of those things you can actually add here. But we also talk about how it's communicating your business to your family members and your employees. As you are potentially, if I like to think about my brother, he has a dairy farm in the southern part of Illinois. His business plan really is helping my sister and I understand how to do different things. Where do we find this, that, and the other thing? So it's helping communicate what's going on with the business to family members and other employees. All right, so there's also this other part, though, that we really truly believe that it's going to help you improve the management of your business, because it's the blueprint for operating your business. It serves as your operational guide. But again, if you go back to the other slide where we're talking about how no, you don't have to go back, Mariah.
Oh, sorry.
It's helping you. No, I lost my thought. But anyway, demonstrating that you've taken the time to think through all of the other aspects. It helps you come back to all of that because now you know your business more intimately because you've had to think through all of these other pieces. So it really does, and I've seen this with farms that I've worked with, helps you improve the management of your business. Okay, so what do you have to have in your business plan? Well, these are the sections that are going to be included in AgPlan. There's an executive summary. You can also add a cover sheet in here, but the executive summary, that's the last section that you should write because it's just summarizing everything else that's down below. Then you get into a business description, which I'm sure Mariah will repeat this, but that's the easiest section. That's where we recommend that you kind of get in and get started because it helps you kind of get into the flow of it. Then you're getting into your operations where you're talking about what you're actually doing, how you're doing it, things like that. Then you get to the marketing plan. How are you selling your product? Management organization. You know, those are the legal and the HR pieces. And then obviously we're from the Center for Farm Financial Management. So we think that the financial plan is probably one of the more important sections of it. But, you know, we're a bit biased on that one. So, but the financial plan and talking about not just where you plan on being with your finances, but where are you starting? And then how are you going to get there? And when you put all of those things together, then you have a nice cohesive business plan. And again, it doesn't have to be long. We had a project 15 years ago now, 11 years ago now is when it finished, where we actually farmers from around the country, shrimpers in the Gulf Coast, where we told them that 15 to 20 pages, that's pretty good. You don't have to be very verbose in this. You just have to explain to people what you're doing and why you're doing it. All right, so the next screen that we have here is just some of the plan types that we have. And we have another course available on AgPlan that goes into more depth on all of these that will show you where those are. But the commodity plan is just, really it comes down to how are you marketing your plans as you're choosing between all of these things. Commodities, that's, if you're marketing to maybe one or two places. I think about my brother's dairy farm. We're selling milk to the local co-op. We might sell some of our crop to one of the other local co-ops. So for him, commodity works. Value added. So if we were taking some of our milk and turning it into local or to ice cream and then selling it that way, that would be the type of plan that we're thinking about. Agritourism, I see someone just put that in the chat. Agritourism is a big, large, growing aspect that we've been seeing. I know Mariah has worked a lot on that over the last few years. If you're transitioning from conventional production to organic production, we have a specific plan type on that with resources that all of these have resources that are specific to these different plan types and these templates. Small business, you don't have to, again, for the fellowship fund with the Farmer Veteran Coalition, it probably does have to be somewhat agriculturally related. But if you're doing something separate, we do have a small business plan that you can choose from. So it doesn't have to be agriculturally. It does for the fellowship fund. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to repeat that. But just outside of that, we do have one. And then there is a personal plan. Personal career plan is what I like to say. And then there's the short-term operator plan, which really is if you're planning on some short-term reason that you're going to be away, or just having a plan for if my brother were to get hurt in a farming accident, how do we take over? So those are the different plan types. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn it over to Mariah because that's really where we want to get everybody in today. So Mariah, take it away.
Yep. Okay, so just double checking, everybody seeing the AgPlan website? Okay. I'm gonna drop this link in the chat just because I think if you all want to follow along with me, you are more than welcome to. So this is AgPlan, and this is why Curtis and I are here today. So this is a tool. I know somebody put in the chat, do you have any resources for helping develop a business plan? We do. It's AgPlan. So AgPlan is a free online software that anybody can use. All you need to do is just come up with a email and password so that you can register. If you don't currently have an AgPlan account, you just need to add one. You can click on register, put in some information about your email, where you're located, set up a password. That way all your information is saved. You can come back to it. Easy and free as well. Stress that again. Anybody can use it. Let me sign in with, I think if I remember my password correctly. Oh. So if I get signed in here, I'll give you all a tour. Okay, so you're gonna see my screen's a bit of a mess because we do a lot of training with AgPlan. So I'm in here a lot. But when you come into your home screen, this is gonna list all of your plans that you've created. And then I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but if you have been added to a plan as a reviewer, you will also be able to see those here, and you can see plans for review. And I've been added to a couple of different plans for review. So when you come in, you're going to want to start a new plan. So you can easily just click on that Start New Plan button. And then you're going to have to select your plan type. So really, this, as Curtis alluded to earlier, it's really just how do you market your products. And if you can't remember what we said earlier, there's descriptions here so you can read and pick the one that makes the most sense for you. And if you get into one and you're like, yeah, this doesn't really fit, it's easy to just copy and paste from one to another. So you don't have to worry about making the wrong choice. Because again, we don't limit you on the number of plans that you can make. So you can easily just create a new one, put the information into the other one. For today, I'm just going to do... Oh,
Mariah,
yep.
Can you bump up your font size just a bit there?
Yep. Is that good?
Yes, that should be good. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. And if it's still a problem, put it in the chat and Curtis will let me know and I can make it even bigger. So today I'm just going to go through, just click through a value added plan. All of them are set up, very similarly. There's sections within each plan that differ a little bit, but the overall how you use it and get around is the same no matter which plan you pick. So if I just come up with a new plan, I do my fellowship fund example. You can name it, you can pick different font sizes, whatever you want. And we create our plan. So it's going to take me back to the home screen, and I can see my fellowship fund example here. And I'm going to move.
Ryan, zoom in one more time. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's
Is
better.
that
Thank you.
good? Okay, yep, no problem. I'm going to move also Zoom. There we go, because all my Zoom buttons are in the way too. Okay, so here I've got my fellowship fund example, and I want to jump into the plan and get to writing. So to do that, I just click on View Plan. And I can see, over to the left here are the sections that Curtis mentioned earlier. So we have our cover page, executive summary, business description, operations, marketing plan, management and organization, and financial plan. And if you click into each one of those, you'll see a lot of different subsections open. So I'm going to click on a couple different ones just so you can see how they expand. So within each section, there are these little subsections that you can write to. So I think that's nice to kind of chunk it up so that way you just don't have to go all of about your marketing plan in one spot. You certainly can. You can write about it in one spot, but the way it chunks it up kind of helps you think about these different pieces of your business plan that you could potentially write about. The other thing that I want to mention too is as you get into this, you might look at, I just opened up this marketing plan and there's, 10 plus different sections, and you might be thinking, oh, Mariah, that's a lot. That's crazy. And I would say not everyone is going to use every single one of these sections. Use the sections that make sense for your business. And as Curtis also said earlier, be succinct and be long enough like that you get your point across, but also succinct, right? The goal is not to write a novel and have 50 pages at the end of this. You're just trying to communicate with other people about your business, what your goals are and how they're attainable, right? So again, I'm going to repeat that just to kind of hit it home. You're not going to use every single one of these sections. Use the ones that make the most sense for you and your business. So as you move through your business plan, you'll see a lot of these different sections open up. And in here, this white box here, this is kind of like almost like a little word processor within the program, right? So I can type all about my marketing plans here. So all my plans are here. I can type, I can do spell check, I can bold, I can italicize, underline, copy, paste. I can insert pictures, I can put in tables. There's a lot of flexibility in how you use this. Again, it's like a little mini word processor within the program. So you can write about all of your plan here. And then if we scroll down to the bottom, there are these different tabs that we have within AgPlan. So the first one is tips, and that just gives you kind of an overview of what you might write about, right? So here, this is just saying, this is your marketing plan. Use it to describe what products you're marketing and how you market them, etc. So again, it just kind of gives you a little bit of a guide on what you might put in this section. The next tab is resources, and not every tab has resources listed. So for example, this one does. This one has a marketing strategy section because we're in the marketing plan. But if I were to go up, for example, in business description, there is a section that talks about location, right? And if you open up resources, there's going to be nothing there because what you're trying to talk about is your location. There, hopefully you don't need a resource to describe where you're farming, right? That's pretty self-explainable. So again, not every tab is going to have resources, but some of them do. And what this is just a external link that will explain more about the section you're in. So, for example, this is just about marketing strategy. If I were to go into pricing, there would be several different resources listed on how do I price my products and different things. So if you need more help and want some really more in-depth information, you can click on those resources and go there. The other section that we have is samples. So if I click in here, we try to, for every plan type, so whether you're commodity, whether you're value added, whether you're agritourism, whatever it is that you choose, we tried to incorporate plans that are already filled out for you, just because a lot of time it's helpful to see an example of what this could look like, right? So here we have Rustic River Farm and Lakeshore Orchard. And this is this section already filled out for them. So you can kind of see, well, how does this farm, this fictional farm, fill this out? What do they talk about? How might this sound if it was my farm or my operation? Just to give you an example there. So we have the samples. And then we also have comments. So comments, maybe you don't want to put it up in your text box here, because the text box is what will get printed right to your plan, and everybody will see potentially. But you can also add comments, and I could say maybe a note to myself: remember to talk about pricing, or something like that. And so I can write different comments, and it tells me it was me. The reason it says my name, though, is because you can add reviewers to your plan. So maybe you are farming with a partner, whether that might be your spouse, maybe you're, farming with your brother or your sister or something like that. And, you really both need to be in the plan and be looking at these different things. So an easy way to do that is to add a reviewer to your plan.
So, and
go ahead,
real
Curtis.
quick here, Mariah. So there was a question earlier that I thought would be appropriate to answer here. So Jonathan asked, is there a way to include footnotes to cite to resources within the plan? And my own personal opinion, the comments area is the perfect place to do that. You could put it into the white text box, but quite honestly, that comments area, that's a great place. It won't show up necessarily whenever we'll show you where you can actually include the comments if you want to. But to me, that's where I would put them.
Also, and to kind of along that train of thought, comments can't be deleted, right? So if I put a resource or something there, I wanted to remember it. If I go in and I edit and I accidentally hit backspace or delete or something and don't realize it, then it's gone. But if I add it as a comment, then it's there and you won't lose it. So we were talking about reviewers, how to add reviewers to your plan. So if we go back to your home screen where you've got your list of plans, you can see for each of your plans, there's these little reviewers and tools and settings here, kind of sort of more towards the middle of the page. If I click reviewers, that's going to show me where I can add in reviewers. So people who would have permission to then come in and look at the plan, or even if you want them to, they can edit the plan. And so how you would do that is you just need to add their email. So if I add in, I'm going to add Curtis to this plan. So I've used him a couple different times as an example. So it comes up, but if you add in their email address, that will then send them an email as an invite into AgPlan. Then you need to set their access. Okay. So if you want them to be able to come in and actually edit your plan, write things into the plan, you want to make sure that you give them edit access. So that will give them access to that white text box, and they can, make edits, type things as they would, and it would show up in the actual plan. The other one is just comment only. So maybe this person is just there for review purposes only. There's no reason for them to be writing anything in the plan. You just want them to have a look at it. You can give them comment only access, and so they won't be able to edit anything in that white text box, but they will be able to add comments down below and maybe, give you insights into your plan, ways that you can improve it, or things you might want to talk about or think about within your plan. So if I click add reviewer, Curtis has been added. And you can see that here by the little toast message up here. It says they've been added, but then also it's listed here on my plan reviewers. You can have multiple plan reviewers. So if you've got multiple partners or maybe multiple people that you want to look at this, you can have as many as you need in the plan. The other thing that you can do is you can always change their access, right? So right now, Curtis is able to edit my plan, but if at any time, for any reason, I think, yeah, he just needs to be able to comment, I don't really want him to be able to edit my plan, I can always do that by unchecking that box. And so now Curtis's access has been demoted, I guess, to just only able to comment, and he can't edit. Then lastly, if you have someone who they've reviewed their plan and they don't really need to be on the plan anymore as a reviewer, you can revoke access completely, and then they won't be able to see your plan anymore. So I'm going to pause right here real quick. Are there any questions on reviewers as we walk through this? I'm not monitoring the chat.
Yeah,
that
so
well. Okay.
there was one, I think Logan had a question of, do we need to give anyone access as a reviewer? Is this a needed step? I'll let Diego answer that from maybe a Farmer Veteran Coalition standpoint. From an AgPlan CFFM standpoint, it's only if they need to. It's who you want to be able to either review it or even edit the plan. So.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Only if you feel like you need it to be reviewed by one of your colleagues, if you have someone that's experienced in making business plans or something, it's a great tool to use, but it's not required to have someone review it.
And
I
then,
saw another, sorry, go ahead, Curtis.
no, I was just going to say, someone asked again, could you show how to add someone to
Yep.
as a reviewer again?
Yep. So the way I get to this page, so I'm going to go back to my home screen so I can see all of my plans. And to add somebody as a plan to my plan as a reviewer, I just go to the specific plan that I want to add them to and click that reviewers tab. And then that will bring up this screen. So then all I have to do is put in their email address and add them as a reviewer. Then I thought there was one more question I saw that I thought,
Is there a way to identify if a reviewer is an ag plan before I would start editing?
So Tim, I'm assuming you're asking that question because you are afraid that you will be working at the same time and overwrite something. AgPlan will tell you if you try to go to a page that somebody else is on, right? So if Curtis is in my plan, let me just jump back into one just to kind of talk through this. So if right now I'm working, let's just say I'm working through my marketing stuff and I go to customers, right? If nobody else is on that page, I can enter it and just type away and write to my plan as normal. But let's say that Curtis was actually in the customer section and he was reviewing in that section and maybe doing some editing too. I would get a warning on my end that says, hey, Curtis Monken is in this section of the plan. If you enter in, you might overwrite anything that he's written and it might not save correctly. So you will get warnings. That way you're not stepping on each other's toes because it's not like a Google Doc where you can all be editing at the same time. It doesn't work the same way, unfortunately. But you do get a warning. That way you're not gonna overwrite somebody else's work. Then that leads into the next thing I want to talk about. So once you've added a reviewer, you're going to see this fifth tab come up and it says email reviewers. And so what this does is you can say, like, I want to email Curtis. If you had multiple reviewers, it would list each of them individually and you could, email all of them or email just some of them. But let's say I want to email Curtis and, I want him to take a look at this section. I can write a little message that says, hey, look at this and review it for me. Whatever you want to write, you can send that message and then Curtis will get an email and it'll say, hey, in the customer section, Mariah has asked you this question, right? So you can email your reviewers to take a look at specific sections whenever they're ready to go. That way, you can communicate that way too, if you need to. Any other questions, Curtis, that are coming up?
No, I think we can keep, I mean, there's lots of questions, but
Sure.
I'd say let's keep going.
Okay. So the other things that I want to point out to you is if we click on this, I'm going to go with the paperclip first. If we click on that paperclip, I think I saw a question earlier, way back early in the chat when Diego and Tanya were presenting something about like financials. So if you happen to do your financials in like an Excel spreadsheet and you wanted to include that as part of your plan, what you could do is you could attach it here as a PDF. So you could just give it a title and then choose where on your computer that is. So I'm going to click into here, find whatever it is that you're wanting to include and open it up there, add the attachment, and then that will append to the end of your business plan. So when you go to print it out, it will add attachments. A lot of times we see people who maybe add a map or like a screenshot of a map of where they're located. You could add in, if you have marketing contracts that you want to include, or maybe a balance sheet or something like that, you can include those here as well. Let's see.
It does have to
Go
be a
ahead.
PDF, just to keep in mind.
Yep. Thanks for
So
that.
if you can export that as a PDF, that would be ideal.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification, Curtis. So a couple other housekeeping ways that you can use AgPlan. If you want to view all of the comments, you can click that little, looks like a message blurb, and that will show you all of the comments that have been made within the plan. So you can see here, my marketing plan has a comment, and it says, remember to talk about pricing. You can see who made it, when they made it. And then the other thing is we can click on, this is a hyperlinked. So if I click on this, it'll take me back to the marketing plan. So I can go right to that where in the plan that comment was made and see a little bit closer about what was written, what they were talking about, different things like that. You can export these to an Excel doc or a Word doc as well, if you find that helpful. Then to print your plan when you're all done, or you like to print things out and read them. I sometimes like to do that to see all of it together. You can you can click that print button, and then you can choose how you want to view or print your plan. So you can just choose, I want to see my business plan only. I want to see my business plan as well as the comments that were made in it, or I just want to see my comments. So when you view or print your plan, you have the option of choosing a Word doc or a PDF. Just a note, like if you've included attachments, you'll have to view it as a PDF, otherwise they won't include in the Word doc. Anything else that I'm forgetting here, Curtis?
So whenever you actually do click into the PDF, and I don't know if you were going to do that,
sure.
but that will open up. You can download this, then you could actually attach it to your fellowship fund application, I believe is how that would work. But when you look at the PDF, there will be a table of contents that will be included. And that's just going to be generated by whatever sections that you end up adding in. So you can see we've only done the marketing plan here. So that's all that's going to be showing up. And then as Mariah said, any attachments that you add as a PDF will be added to the back end of the PDF.
Yeah.
So again, if you have like a balance sheet or a cash flow plan projection, that would be added on. So
then the last thing that I want to point out is, because we know we threw a lot at you with having to build your business plan with an AgPlan, and there might be some sections you're pretty comfortable with and others that you might not be as comfortable with. What you can do in the meantime is, if you need more help, we have a video course called Developing Your Business Plan. And it's up here at the top. If you log into AgPlan, you can see this link here. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring up another tab, and it's going to bring up all of these videos that we've created on building your business plan within AgPlan. So you've got different videos on, getting started, writing your business description, talking about, your marketing plan, different things. So we've got a ton of different videos that if you need more help and you need a little bit more assistance or background before you get to writing your plan, these videos are available. You can definitely watch them. We think they're helpful to get you started. And then otherwise too, within AgPlan, everywhere that you go, within those sections that you have, just to bring them up again, if you're having trouble with certain sections, we also have tips and resources for each of those sections as well. So lots of different ways to get help. Whatever works best for you, just know that they're all there and available for you if you need that. And with that, are there other questions? I know we've got a little bit of time. I'm happy to answer more questions as we go along. Otherwise, that's the tour of AgPlan. as you get started and there, if you have questions or things that you run into, feel free to always email either Curtis or I, or if you go to our website or if you go to our about page here, you can also email just our center. There's a lot, like Curtis said earlier, there's lots of people here that can help you if Curtis and I aren't available. Tons of help available to you as you get your plan started.
So, and again, AgPlan completely free. The Developing Your Business Plan course completely free. So you can always go there and look at those. So there have been a few questions, and we're going to answer. So there's a few questions on. I have several different enterprises. Like I'm homesteading. I have a micro business. I have several things going on. What if my business plan needs to create, or I have multiple categories? How would we recommend handling that? And we'll answer from the C and the AgPlan business plan writing perspective. But go ahead, Mariah.
So as a good economist always says, it depends. But I think it's probably easier depending on how large you are, right? But I think for smaller people who have a lot of things going on, the easiest thing to do is to just pick a plan and put everything into one. I think that's easier to manage. You're likely going to be copying and pasting from one to the other anyway. So from my viewpoint, I would probably just pick one plan and put them all into one because it's easier to manage. Curtis, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that or if you have a different opinion.
No, I mean honestly, the bigger or the plans that have the most choices in terms of sections are going to be either value added. It's also going to be the same as small business. There's a little cheat code on that one, but the value added or agritourism. Those are going to be the ones that are probably the most robust that I would say in terms of sections. And I'll use this to answer Nigel's question as well for references for insurance options related to events on a farm with respect to a business plan. I mean, that actually, I would go right to the agritourism because that I know that there are resources in there. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. There was a question also on financials, and while we don't necessarily have a lot of things here, we can actually point you to a few other resources because that's what we do. So let's actually, Mariah, go to our CFFM website. So it's at cffm.umn.edu. And then just kind of hover over the tools. So those are all of the different tools that we have available. Yeah. So under the planning tools, obviously we're looking at AgPlan here today, but when you get down to like My Market Profit and crop costs, those are tools that are actually going to have a little bit of financial information. One of the big things that we do is a tool called FinPack, and it's big enough. It's got its own tab in our menu bar. That one, unfortunately, though, is not free. So we have a few different things that are available under there where you can build your balance sheet and things like that. But under the tools, that's where you're going to find some of the other pieces. Yep. Within AgPlan, under the tips and resources, there are a few things that you can find there. There might even be some templates available for some of those things. So. But
yeah, the other thing I was going to point to too is like we do have an AgPlan financial spreadsheet to help you with some of those things too, depending on what you're trying to do. But there's lots of resources there, either on the CFFM website or just within AgPlan itself. Yeah. There's lots of help for you.
Yeah, and to Byron's question, those resources we are not specific to Minnesota. I mean, we are housed at the University of Minnesota. However, we very much have a national footprint for the tools that we do. We'll go work anywhere. So.
All right, and Perfect timing, right at the 1 o'clock mark. So yeah, thank you, Mariah and Curtis, for that. We had a lot of questions in the chat Q&A. Hopefully we answered them as best we can, but if not, please reach out to us. Curtis and Mariah, I'll include your emails in the follow-up email to our attendees in case anyone has any more questions. But yeah, thank you for joining us. This will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat. If not by tomorrow, then by mid next week, it'll be uploaded. For those, we had a lot of questions about chapters as well. If you need more need more insight on like how to do your fellowship fund application, reach out to our chapters. There's a lot of them doing their own things as well. I believe the California chapter is having a webinar later this month about the fellowship fund as well. So reach out to chapters. That's extra help. Um, but other than that, thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions again, please reach out to us at fellowship@farmveco.org or me personally, Diego@farmveco.org or Latanya as well at farmveco.org. But thank you everyone. Thank you, Curtis and Mariah, for joining us. Thank you, Tanya, for the great presentation. And thank you, Abby, for answering all the questions. And we will see you all next time. Thank you.